I always thought if my marriage ended, it would be messy, full of shouting and accusations, with evenings drowned in whiskey as I stared at our wedding photos and wondered what went wrong. But when my wife, Sophia, casually mentioned over dinner, "I don't think I'm happy anymore," something within me just clicked off. I didn't flinch, cry, or get angry. I just felt numb. Sophia sat there eyeing me, maybe expecting me to grab her hands, beg her to stay, or promise to rekindle our romance with some grand gesture. Instead, I calmly set down my fork, wiped my mouth, and asked, "Is there someone else?" My voice was as chill as a winter breeze. Her eyes flickered for a moment, caught off guard, but then she masked it with indifference and let out a small laugh. "Why would you think that?" she responded. I leaned back and said, "This isn't out of nowhere." She pushed her plate away, clearly no longer hungry, and with a slight, smug tilt of her head, she said, "I just don't think we're meant for each other anymore." I nodded slowly, as if I understood, though I knew it wasn't about being mismatched. It was about her wanting out. The signs were clear now: her late nights, sudden interest in the gym, and her phone always face down when we were on the couch. Whether she had someone else or not didn't matter anymore. She was done, and surprisingly enough, so was I. Sophia was waiting for me to protest, cry, or fight for us. Instead, I stood up, took our plates to the sink, and said, "All right." She blinked in confusion. "What?" she asked. Turning on the water, I replied, "If you want to leave, then leave." Her expression fell. This wasn't the reaction she'd rehearsed in her mind. She probably imagined this scene with tears, guilt trips, and desperate pleas. But here I was, making it simple. I could see her mind racing. Why isn't he fighting for me? Suddenly, she started to pause, saying, "I don't want to just throw everything away. We've been together for so long." She was hedging her bets, testing the waters. I dried my hands and faced her. "You've already thrown it away, Sophia." She was caught off guard, inhaling sharply. "That's not fair," she said. I gave her a small, sad smile. "Fair? You came here with your mind made up. I'm just going along with it." She pressed her lips together, unsure of what to say. "I didn't say I'd leave right now." She was asking for more time, a test drive of her new life before fully jumping ship. But that wasn't going to happen. I went into the bedroom while she stayed there, unsure of what to do, until her curiosity won out. "Where are you going?" she asked. Without answering, I retrieved a suitcase from the closet and placed it on the bed. When she peeked in, her eyes widened. "What are you doing?" Folding her clothes into the suitcase, I said, "Helping you pack." Her confident front crumbled as she realized this was real. I wasn't heartbroken or begging. I was giving her a clean exit. No drama, no battles, just a straightforward goodbye. "Ethan, can we talk about this first?" she pleaded. "What's there to discuss?" I asked, meeting her eyes. She glanced at the suitcase, clearly shocked at how swiftly things were happening. I, I don't want to rush things." Naturally, she wanted time to think things over, to decide if leaving was worthwhile, while still dangling the hope of reconciliation. But I wasn't up for her game. I was halfway through packing my clothes when I paused, looking over at her. "I'll take the guest room tonight," I told her. "Take your time with packing." Her lips parted slightly like she wanted to say something, but she stayed silent. I picked up my pillow and walked past her, quietly shutting the guest room door behind me. For the first time in ages, I felt as light as a feather. I didn't need to keep fighting for someone who had already let go. No more wasting energy on trying to prove myself. I was finally free, and Sophia, she was about to discover what a mistake she'd made. So there I was that night, parked in the glow of a dim lamp in the guest room, waiting for the torrent of sadness to wash over me. I found myself staring at the ceiling, bracing for the wave of emotion I thought was inevitable. I expected to feel crushed by the reality that my marriage was coming to an end, thinking I'd be caught in a whirlwind of rejection, clinging desperately to the life Sophia and I had built. But what I got instead was an unexpected clarity. For the first time in years, things made sense. I could see Sophia's hesitations, how she seemed to always leave an escape route open. And it wasn't shocking. This wasn't a snap decision on her part. She didn't just wake up one day and decide to check out. The unraveling had been on display for ages, and I had just been too blind to notice. Looking back, the clues were obvious, nearly as bright and gaudy as neon signs. Changes in her demeanor crept in so softly, I dismissed them at the time. There was once a period when her whole face lit up the second I walked through the door. She'd greet me warmly, no matter what she was juggling. Somewhere along the timeline, that faded away. Our conversations got clipped, almost businesslike. Hi and bye turned into quick transactional exchanges rather than genuine affection. And then there was her phone. Sophia had always been a regular checker, but there came a shift. She started angling the screen away from my line of sight, and the phone would stay face down when we sat on the couch. When it did buzz, she'd glance swiftly and stow it away, as though my eyes shouldn't linger on it. I kept telling myself it was nothing, just lost in her social media or wanting a bit more privacy these days. I didn't think I needed to go snooping since trust was our thing, right? But trust isn't about sticking your head in the sand and hoping none of your fears turn out real. And those late nights she claimed work demanded. Sure, Sophia's job was always a lot, but in the past she would send messages throughout the day, all jazzed up about coming back home. Then the communication dwindled. First it was sporadic meetings running late, but soon it was just how things were. Staying late, don't wait, she'd say, or grabbing drinks with colleagues, or another late one, team dinner, got a big deadline. It wasn't the hours themselves that stung the most, but the growing void between us. Calls dwindled. Curiosity about my day vanished. She didn't seem to want any time together. Every time I probed, she shot back defensively, accusing me of paranoia. Ethan, it's not all about you, she'd retort. Back then, I questioned if maybe I was overreacting, thinking she was just under the gun with stress from work, or maybe I was expecting too much. But now, here in this guest room, the chilling reality sank in. I wasn't on the verge of losing her. I had lost her long ago. I replayed in my mind the way it all kicked off. We crossed paths at a party thrown by a mutual friend, one of those obligatory events neither of us was eager to attend. But despite that, something clicked. She was lively, sharp-witted, full of zest. She dragged me to the dance floor, laughing off my lack of rhythm. We talked for what felt like a heartbeat that night. I thought then, she's someone I could spend forever with. And for a while we were just that. Amazing. Together we traveled, lazed around on Sundays, shared everything. Our dreams, memories from our childhoods. The kind of jokes that only made sense to us because they were ours. She was my confidant. Over time, though, everything shifted. It didn't crumble with one giant argument, no intense fallout. No, it was a slow erosion, like grains of sand slipping away until I realized my hands were empty. Her laughter at my jokes faded, as did her instinct to reach for my hand in public, or her gaze that used to see me as the one she wanted. Was it boredom? Maybe someone else was in the picture? Or perhaps she was waiting for me to pull the trigger? Didn't seem to make a difference in the end because I was done fighting for attention that was no longer precious to her. I was deep in thought when a soft knock hit the guest room door. I kept silent. The knock came again, her voice soft and uncertain. Ethan? I exhaled, running my hands over my face. Yeah, I replied. There was a pause before she spoke again. Can we talk? I stayed seated but leaned forward, asking her, what's on your mind? Her voice shifted. It was gentler now, a bit unsure. I just don't like how things are, she admitted. I let out a bitter chuckle. How exactly, Sophia? Like you wanting to go and me not stopping you? She sighed heavily, and I could feel the irritation in her voice. I thought you'd put up more of a fight. There it was. She craved a reaction, some pushback, to feel desired even as she was pulling away. I stood up, cracked open the door, and took a look at her. Arms crossed, her face was a jumble of annoyance and confusion. I met her gaze, my expression a blank slate. You chose your path, Sophia. I'm just stepping aside to make it smoother. She swallowed thickly, asking, is that all? Just like that? Leaning against the doorframe, I kept my voice steady. I could argue, plead, try to sway you, but deep down, would it really change things? She looked down, mumbling, I'm not sure. I gave a small smile. But I am. She struggled to speak, but no words managed to escape. For once, the control slipped from her grasp, and I saw the first flicker of doubt on her face. But the moment had passed. The easy way out I'd provided was hers now, and she had to live with it. When morning came, I was up bright and early. It wasn't sleeplessness, just a newfound peace. The heaviness on my chest was gone. No endless overthinking about what could have been. I no longer had to wake up next to someone whose mind was far away. For the first time in ages, I felt I could truly breathe. From the bedroom, I could hear Sophia packing, a drawer banging shut, clothes thrown into a suitcase. She moved not with intent, but with frustration. I didn't step in or offer to help. She'd made her bed. I was simply handing her the result of her choices. It wasn't much later when she stood at the front door, suitcase in one hand, keys in the other. I was at the kitchen table, phone in one hand, coffee in the other, like it was any other morning. She coughed lightly to get my attention. "Well, I'm off." I gave her a nod. "Take care." Her fingers clenched around the suitcase handle. "That's it? Nothing else?" I leaned back, drawing in a long breath. "What do you want to hear, Sophia? That I'm falling apart? That life won't make sense without you? That I'm going to wait around hoping you'll rethink?" She opened her mouth but stayed silent. I shook my head firmly. "I'm not going to beg, Sophia. You wanted an exit, so take it." Something flickered across her face, something like doubt, but she masked it quickly. With suitcase in hand, she walked out. Just before getting in her car, she paused, cast one last look at the house. I didn't move, didn't chase after her. Just continued drinking my coffee, watching as she drove away. And that was it. 5 years of marriage ended right there. I expected to feel something, a pang of sadness, maybe even gratitude for the release. But all I felt was calm. She thought I'd chase, crumble, be lost. But as her car disappeared, it was clear she'd walked away from something worth holding on to. And soon she'd know it too. Time moved on from days to weeks. I didn't reach out, ask anyone how she was, or overcome with curiosity about her life now. I focused on me. I hit the gym each sunrise, rekindled with old pals, threw myself into work, and began thriving in ways previously unknown to me. Curiously, she kept watch from the shadows. Not a single text popped up, but her presence was felt. She hadn't hit unfollow on social media. Instead, she started viewing my updates with intense consistency. She saw the gym check-ins, the casual hangouts, the visible proof of happiness in pictures. For the first time, she was seeing me in a light she never expected. Convinced I'd crumble without her, she instead witnessed my transformation, and that realization gnawed at her. It was at a friend's bash that I finally laid eyes on her again after her departure. Running into her wasn't on the agenda that night. I had no inkling she'd be there. I was just casually walking into the backyard, drink in hand, chuckling at some joke when, bam, there she was, hovering by the fire pit, our gazes locking. I exhaled deeply. There was uncertainty and hesitation swirling in the air, but I decided not to linger. Instead, I greeted others, laughing and chatting like the whole ordeal hadn't touched me. On the surface, I wore my indifference like a crown. After a bit of hesitation, she decided to make her move. An hour passed, and she came over with a smile plastered on her face, acting like everything was just as it used to be between us. "Hey, long time no see," she said, and I took a casual sip of my drink, nodding slightly. "Hey." She let out a small laugh, swaying a little on her feet. "Didn't think I'd run into you here," she continued. I locked eyes with her. "Does it make a difference?" Her smile faltered ever so slightly. "No, just took me by surprise," she replied. But there was a hint of something unsaid in her tone. I could tell she was wondering about me, why I wasn't broken, why I wasn't avoiding places we used to go. I was thriving, and she noticed. I let the silence linger a moment before I tilted my head, asking, "How's things on your end?" Her shoulders tensed for a second. "Things are good," she said, and I nodded slowly. "Glad to hear it." I turned away, leaving her standing there, realizing what she'd given up. It was sinking in that she had left to find something better, only to miss what we had. And the twist? She left me. Totally her decision. I never bought into the whole dramatic revenge plot like in the movies. No burning bridges, no sensational scandals. But if I learned anything, it's that the best kind of revenge isn't proving someone wrong. It's proving yourself right by living a life that's so fulfilling they regret leaving. And that's what I aim for. I put myself first and dove straight into fitness, lifted heavier weights, ran longer distances, pushed myself further than I ever had before. Every single rep, every sprint, every drop of sweat wasn't because I was mad. It was because I felt free. For years I'd been stuck, trying to make someone happy who stopped choosing me long ago. I let go, all the way, not just physically, mentally, emotionally. I'd given everything to someone who gave nothing in return. But now I was becoming who I was meant to be. Stronger, sharper, more driven. I reconnected with old friends that had drifted away during my marriage. We went out exploring new restaurants, hit the road, made new memories. I was rebuilding my life without her at the center. And at work, I thrived. Without the strain of a failing marriage, my productivity soared. I closed deals, brought in new clients, and climbed to a senior position within months. Success seemed to follow me. And Sophia, she was watching. At first, she just lingered silently, nothing direct. Her name popped up in my Instagram story views, watching the gym achievements, work successes, even small moments like a photo of a steak I cooked. Maybe she thought it was all an act, that I was waiting for her to reach out so we could mend things. But here's the kicker. I wasn't pretending. I was genuinely happy, and realizing that drove her crazy. When she finally did reach out, it was weak, a text out of the blue. "Hey, just saw something that reminded me of you. Hope you're doing great." I paused for a moment, then left it unread. No response was needed. She made her choice, and she was starting to feel the weight of it. The next time we crossed paths wasn't at any planned get-together. It was at the grocery store. I was picking out some fruits when I heard, "Ethan." I turned to see her looking different. Not bad, but lacking that glow she had when she was confident. For the first time, she seemed unsure, wondering if she made the right decision. I gave her a polite nod. "Sophia," with a rather unsure smile, she shifted. "It's been a minute." I nodded back. "Yeah, sure has." Her gaze drifted to my shopping cart, taking in the fresh produce, the protein shakes, seeing how my healthier lifestyle mirrored my mindset. She commented almost in disbelief, "You look great," and I caught on quickly. She didn't just mean physically, it was about how I carried myself now, more together and independent, someone she didn't have a hold over. I smiled lightly. "Thanks, life's been pretty good to me." Her expression shifted. She seemed unsure if she wanted to hear that. "You're keeping busy," she noted, clearly keeping tabs. I chuckled. "You could say that." She paused and bit her lip, clearly struggling with something. "I've really missed our talks," she said, her tough facade starting to crack. I tilted my head slightly and asked, "Oh, really?" She nodded, inching closer. "There's been a lot weighing on my mind," she confessed. I stayed quiet, allowing the silence to echo her regrets. After a moment, she sighed. "I never thought things would end up like this." She had expected to feel free, maybe even happier, but instead, she just felt empty. That wasn't my problem, though. With a shrug, I said, "Well, you chose this." Her breath hitched a little. "Ethan, I—" But before she could finish, I glanced at my watch. "I need to get going. I have a meeting." She blinked, caught off guard by my indifference. She assumed I'd deeply engage in this chat, give her another shot. But to me, she was just a stranger I once knew. She exhaled slowly, forcing a smile. "Right, of course. It was nice seeing you." I nodded, keeping things polite but distant. "You too, Sophia. Take care." And with that, I walked away, feeling her gaze on my back as I left. She was likely realizing she no longer had any sway over me, understanding the worth of what she had thrown away, a connection she might never find again. But for me, that ship had sailed. It started with those subtle clues, her suddenly interested in my social media, sending random, "Hey, how have you been?" messages that I ignored, and those so-called accidental run-ins that were anything but accidental. Sophia wasn't being secretive anymore. She was testing the waters to see if she still had a chance. The problem? That door had been shut long ago. The turning point was on a Friday night. I had just come back from a business dinner when my phone buzzed. At first, I assumed it was a friend calling, but then I saw her name, Sophia. I almost didn't pick up, but curiosity got the better of me. Hello, I answered. There was a pause, and then she spoke. Ethan. Her voice no longer calm or casual, but raw and a bit desperate. I stayed silent, letting her do the talking. Finally, she said, I know I shouldn't be calling, but I needed to talk to you. Running a hand through my hair, I sighed. Sophia, what do you want? She let out a nervous laugh. Honestly, I don't even know where to begin. I leaned back and glanced at the ceiling. Start from the beginning. She went silent, took a deep breath, and then, I made a mistake, Ethan. I let her words hang there. Which part? I asked calmly, unfazed. She sighed. All of it. Leaving you. Thinking I needed something else. Believing I'd be happier. Her voice was laced with regret. I didn't say a word. I didn't need to. She continued, her voice faltering a bit. I thought I wanted more freedom, something different. But it didn't matter, the new place, the supposedly exciting life. I had everything I needed with you. Months ago, her admission might have crushed me, but now it didn't affect me in the slightest. I'd moved on. Then she whispered, barely louder than a breath. I miss you, Ethan. I rubbed the side of my head. No, Sophia. You miss the security and the certainty that I'd always be there. Not me. If you truly missed me, you wouldn't have left. Her breath hitched. I was an idiot. I chuckled softly. That's one way to put it. Silence lingered once more before she asked, Is there any chance for us? I closed my eyes briefly, taking in her plea, and then replied with what she needed to hear. I gave you the easy way out, Sophia, and you took it. I paused for a moment, then delivered the final blow. I'm not someone you can choose twice, I told her, and she let out a shaky sigh as if she'd just been punched in the gut. For the first time, she fully realized the impact of her mistake. She had toyed with something real and lost it. I could hear her struggling to keep it together on the other end, trying to find words to fix something beyond repair. But I was done. I had nothing more to offer her, so I wrapped it up with, Take care, Sophia, and ended the call. I sat there for a bit, staring at my phone, waiting for some feeling to kick in. Maybe a hint of sadness, a wave of nostalgia. But there was just emptiness. Not a trace of anger, hurt, or longing. Just peace. Because the second I hung up, I knew I had won. Not because I had gotten revenge or proved a point to her. I had won because I had moved forward while she was left with nothing but regret. And that in itself was her real punishment. Hey folks, make sure to leave your thoughts down in the comments section. Also, remember to hit the like button, share this with your friends, and subscribe to our channel.